Pokémon Legends Arceus was released in 2022 for the Nintendo Switch, and it wasn't just another entry in the series. For the first time in the franchise's 30-year history, with only minor exceptions like the Trials in Sun and Moon, the game abandoned the familiar structure of gyms in the Pokémon League. Instead, it drops the player, a character from the present day, into the Hisui region, an ancient version of Sinnoh, and shifts the focus toward exploration and Pokemon research. And that shift changes everything. For decades, Pokemon followed the familiar loop, travel from town to town, battle gym leaders, and aim for the Pokemon League. It worked, but it also limited what the world of Pokemon could feel like. Legends Arceus breaks that mold by asking the question, what if Pokemon weren't just partners, but mysteries? In Hisui, Pokemon aren't as understood as in the more mainline games, and that transforms the player's role. You're no longer just a trainer, you're a researcher, building the region's very first Pokédex. Progress isn't measured by badges, but by observation, watching how Pokemon behave, how they move, and how they interact with their environment. You don't just catch a Pokemon once and move on, it's continuous as you study it. You experiment, you engage with it in ways the series had never asked before, and that design is supported by a major structural evolution, a move towards some kind of open world exploration. Arceus isn't fully open world in the same seamless sense as Scarlet and Violet, which would follow later, and it could be argued that Sword and Shield introduced some open world elements in 2019, but Arceus made the impact. Its large, open zones give players freedom to roam, to discover, and to approach encounters on their own terms. This includes sneaking through tall grass and dodging incoming attacks. This was the first time Pokemon feel like they truly exist in the world, not just as random encounters, but as creatures with presence. And then there are Alpha Pokemon, larger, stronger, more aggressive, with glowing red eyes and overwhelming power. Alpha Pokemon fundamentally change how you approach danger. You don't just battle them, you prepare for them. You avoid them when you're weak, and you come back when you're ready. They create tension and exploration, turning the world itself into a challenge. They make the environment matter. And above it all is Arceus, the god of the Pokemon world who brought you here. In Pokemon Legends Arceus, you're not just a trainer or a researcher, you're someone chosen, pulled through time for a purpose that you don't fully understand. That changes the scale of the journey. It gives the game a sense of myth, of destiny, that Pokemon has rarely reached before. And in doing so, it reminds us that this world isn't just something to explore. It's something bigger than us. This game belongs in the Hologrades. Not just because it's different, but because it's bold, because it took a chance, because it changes how players interact with one of the most iconic franchises in gaming. Pokemon Legends Arceus doesn't just revisit the past of the Pokemon world, it reshapes the future.